Hey, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing okay. And they haven't, oh my god, my gem just fell. Just pretend they're still there because this is so embarrassing. The year isn't even finished yet, and probably I think this is gonna be the best book that I've read this year. The book Thief by Marcus Zizek has been a book that taken me a while to read. I think it's been more than 10 days now, which is a lot for me to read. This is 500 and something pages, but I did not want to finish this little gem of a book. Now everyone and their mamas have known and read and loved the book. I've avoided it because, I don't know, one, I was scared of being disappointed, and two, it never was a subject that I gravitated towards. I'm not into journalism, and this is not journalism, but esque. But I've been getting more and more into historical fiction, and this falls under the historical fiction umbrella, so I thought, fuck it, let's just read it. I have, and all of you need to read it too. I did not know what I was expecting from this. This is a book surrounding World War II and basically focusing on Nazi Germany and the occupation of Germany. Mainly, they talked about, after I read it, they talked about the occupation of other countries, but mainly the occupation of Germany. Like I said, I was never really interested in reading books like that because I read to escape, and I don't read for academic reasons. I rarely read for educational reasons. I read just to escape everything. So this is set in 1939. It is narrated by Death. However, following the story of a tiny, small 9-year-old girl called Lizelle Mamager, who after just the opening of the book is a huge tragic death. After a tragic thing happens to her and losing the most important people in her life, she gets transferred into a foster home. And so we meet her new foster family, her father Hans Huberman and her mom Rosa Huberman. Later on we find out that her real parents have been taken away to a concentration camp. Zell steals books. This is her story, and the story of the inhabitants of her street when the bombs began to fall. Some important information: this novel is narrated by Death. It's a small story about a girl, an accordionist, some fanatical Germans, a Jewish fist fighter, and quite a lot of thievery. When I read that, it gave me a Tale of the Three Brothers kind of feeling. It's not even close to being that vibe, but it's what made me gravitate towards actually reading the book. I opened this not knowing where I was headed, and holy mother of pearls, what a freaking opening, what a first chapter, what a prologue. It was incredible. If I could just sit here and read you the entire goddamn book or my highlights of the book, that I would, but there are, if you can see them, there are a lot of them. Now, I have an anathema for overbearing victims. And based on the summary, I was terrified of that because I wanted to love the book, but I was so wrong. She was not an overbearing victim. She wasn't a person like a damsel in distress. I have a huge anathema for people like that, for characters like that, and I hate when authors make characters like that. No, it doesn't give me like a sense of apathy towards them that will make me love them even more. It makes me hate them. Like, it makes me want to slap them, get up and do something. Like, that's just how I feel when I read books like this. As characters that I read that had a lot of shit happen to them and they still maintained this, I don't know, gallant vibe to them was Jude St. Francis, which is why I loved him so much. Still, he wasn't stuck in this victim stuff, even though he was a victim of so many things. But I think it's a special talent for an author. It takes special talent for an author to achieve the balance between those two things. Because you think, it's Nazi fucking Germany, my dude. You think this is gonna be the most damsel in distress you ever read in your life, but it was perfect. The prologue in this one, and no, this is not a negative, even though it's completely okay, and with every story, it is expected for the prologue to be inchoate. It is meant to be inchoate and incomplete. However, with this one, it sort of felt full, not in a bad way, and I have no idea how to explain that, or if that even would make sense to anyone else's brain other than my own, but it felt full. Like, I can just read the prologue right now and feel like I've gained shit. This is honestly the kind of book that is a trouvé. You open it and you know immediately after just a few paragraphs that you have stumbled upon something very special. The storytelling keeps having me in queue. It's the kind of story and storytelling and writing that would make a person an inveterate reader. And that is so beautiful, because you now realize that this is the kind of book that you will recommend to people that will probably be the reason why they would just start reading, looking for the same special kind of feeling they felt starting this book. Now, to her foster parents, between Rosa's acerbic comments and myopic thinking, Anand's that is more open-minded and more gentle and comfortable showing that gentleness, we get this, what do you call it, this energy between them that I was, what's the word? I was suspicious of before and when we first met them, and I don't know what happened. Anything can happen, especially at a time and place like this, but it completely surprised me and went completely the other way. I didn't know where it was heading, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and it kept me on my toes, scared for Lizelle 24/7 whenever I would read the book, whenever I read the first chapters, because I didn't know these people. And honestly, after reading and finishing the book, I wish they were awful people, because the emotions they made me feel at the end of the book, I didn't cry. Although if I were in a better mental state, I would have cried. And then we go to my favorite character. I think my favorite character was Hans Huberman, but it does have a challenge, and that is Max van der Burg. Max van der Burg is a German Jewish citizen. Fuck, how do I talk about Max without getting emotional? He was transported from place to place to try and keep himself safe. Max ends up in the Huberman household. Max is a huge, important character, and I love him. Different relationships we learn about and see develop. Before Max, that was a point that I enjoyed vehemently, and after Max, it was a point that I would read the entire book again right now because of it. We get friendships, childhood friendships. We get the relationship that Lizelle never got with her real parents, and we never actually, I don't know if she got, we never learned about, and she was very, very, very young when she was separated from them, to her developing her relationship with her foster parents, and it ended up flowering into something incredibly beautiful, to childhood friends that became as bullies or enemies and ended up as best of friends and maybe first-time lovers, and to the very much unique and incredibly beautiful relationship that Lizelle and Max developed, to unconditional parental love. It gives you a misshapen concoction of relationships that I love digging through, and I love discovering each and every one of them and learning each and every one of them and developing and seeing the progress of each and every one of them and what really is important at a time like that. Really succeeded in putting in perspective, to me personally, a lot of shit that we take for granted every goddamn day. Max and his relationship with Lizelle, I think, is the most special of them all, if not one of the most special relationships that I've read about. Writing is absolutely incredible. I'm simulating all of these relationships and feelings and simulating a sense of dread, because we are following characters that are living in this time era of the world. So did a wonderful job describing and simulating the childhood adventures that these kids really have enjoyed and made for themselves. Max, in an effort to show appreciation for the love and friendship that Lizelle and Hubermans have showed him, wrote a book to Lizelle, and the book is incredible. I want to share the book with all of you. It obviously will contain a few spoilers, so go ahead and skip the book if you don't want that, but it really, really made me emotional, and I think I did tear up a little bit reading the story that he created for Lizelle. Just so pure and so simple, and I don't know, dude. This was not the type of book that I would read and constantly annotate stuff that I find so relatable, and I did expect that, but when I actually read it, I found so many things that the author succeeded in making them relatable to the reader sitting and reading this in 2023. That's it, though, for now. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.